Hey guys, welcome back. Robocraft Early Access coverage. This is episode 46. I'm Enigmius, and today the yellow mystery bot with nano disruptors is back. 4 more matches. You can see I've got some electroplates on the ass end, and one of the things I was just messing around, and I put them on, and I thought, hey, I kind of like those. We'll see how it goes. I completely didn't notice that it put me into tier 8. So you're going to see a couple of matches with the electroplates and a couple without. I just wanted to finish off buying the rest of the components from tier 7. And then we'll, look at tier 8. There's some things that I still have to buy. Now, I'm moving up with our shooters here. We've got SMG Hover and the guy way up ahead there. And this is just a classic case of gross overextension. You can see I wasn't expecting the SMG to just stop dead and turn around like that. And by the time I get around the corner, our other guy is gone. And there's a railgunner taking pot shots at me. So I'm trying to back away a little bit, while also being mindful that we've got shooters on the front lines who are taking damage. But they go around the corner and they dissolve. The one good thing that came out of the first guy to go around that corner is he seemed to have spotted most of the enemy down there, so at least we have some indication that people coming around that corner should be a little bit cautious, and they just weren't. They just totally weren't. They went face first to glory, and it's basically impossible to keep any of these guys alive, even if they weren't so completely overpowered by the sheer volume of enemy bots around that corner. It's just there's something to be said for mass equals survivability in a lot of cases, and we're just one by one. They're picking us off now. Our shooters kind of threw themselves on their swords at the very beginning of the match, and it's pretty much formulaic now. This is kind of one of the worst case scenario losses, and what I'm trying to do now, with a certain amount of futility, is get back and interrupt that capture, because there's nothing else I can do. We've got the railgunner, he's taking me apart piece by piece. We've got a plasma bomber blopping down on me. My thrusters are now gone. Game over. What can you do, really? We were kind of screwed in the first 30 seconds on that one. Now the remainder of the matches are going to be on this map, which is really kind of tragic because this is one of my least favorite maps. It's not a poorly made map. It's very, very well made for what it is, which is very, very claustrophobic. Everything is a different elevation with a wall next to it, which is kind of difficult to manage. Even if you go down into the center under that canopy of rocks, it's still very, very claustrophobic with all the pillars all over the place. So narrow lanes, lots of stuff going on. Very, very difficult to find a group of players to work with without tripping over one another. So I found this guy and I thought, okay, I'll advance with him and hopefully he's kind of going to do something useful. Maybe he's shooting off into the distance. Questionable strategic value to that because the SMG fire does leave like puffs of dust when it impacts the ground. So he's basically giving away his position to anyone who happens to be coming around that corner, and then he just kind of stops here inexplicably. So I turn around and I try and find another group of people that I could join up with that might be a better choice for me to spend my time with them, see what they're going to do. Everything is fragmented. Everyone's kind of elsewhere from where you might want them to be. And then I notice that this guy is being kind of a jerk down here. We've got basically mostly medics down in this valley right now. One of them just died. And then there's this guy who's being kind of a butt. So I've been in matches where medics just kind of abandon the medic role to go offensive at really, really, I would say, inopportune times. In this case, we're basically being swarmed by the enemy. And I was kind of at the point where I was like, all I've been doing all matches looking around for a place where I can be useful, and it hasn't been working. So whatever. I'm over this one. Not the best example of how to be a standout medic in terms of surviving and supporting your team. But there's that limit in terms of how much you can spend looking around for people to help. And as soon as you find a group and you go to join up with that group, they scatter. And then you find another group and you go join up with that group and they scatter. And then by the time you join up with a group that's actually doing something anywhere as a group, you find out it's all the remaining medics healing each other. it's wow. What can you do? Now this is another example. Everything is really, really claustrophobic. There's a wall on one side, a cliff on the other. Everything is very, very narrow. So in order to get a sizable group along this lane, it's really, really difficult. And that's why you'll have that ridge on the far left there. It's very, very comfortable for the enemy to park a couple of bots up there and shoot down onto this ledge. Not necessarily easy to stay here where I am and avoid enemy fire, because it's usually only a matter of time before the bombers come by and start making your life difficult. Now, I kind of slid off the edge there a little bit, and I was trying to pull myself back on, and the walker just decided, you know what, I need to just crawl over this ledge for something. It's a medic. That guy is a medic. I don't know. Maybe he was preparing for something, or maybe someone else was trying to get by. I didn't really notice. So now we've got a lot of medics just kind of hanging out here. No one is really doing much of anything. The enemy isn't really accomplishing much. We aren't accomplishing much. I don't think anybody really knows where the majority of the other team is. We're just kind of being here, doing our thing, hanging out. There's that ridge that I was talking about. I like to hang out up there. And finally, I've got someone that I can help out. It's this railgun with these eye stalks for gun mounts, and those just terrify me. Those, as someone who's had a couple of rail vehicles, I know that that's one blob of plasma away from losing some or all of your weapons. It's difficult to build a good railgun vehicle and having the gun spaced enough so that you can fit as many on as you want, but that's just kind of the cheap solution to an expensive problem. Now you can see in the back there, I stopped to heal this guy, this walker. He's got lots of guns, he's just missing some legs. So I decided to kind of top him up, but off in the distance there at our base, there's something crazy going on, and it's not ending anytime soon. It's an SMG drone of some sort harassing our guys. And this is one of those embarrassing situations where it's like, how many bots does it take to kill an SMG drone? Apparently like 5 or 6. And I'm just here basically to offer a little bit of repair support to the guys over here, because you can see this guy in the drone, he's just flipping and flopping all over the damn place. He's not really able to control his bot, and that means that any damage he does is pretty much accidental at this point. It's like he holds down his fire button and he just mashes control keys to go wherever he ends up going. And the thing is, if you leave them there long enough and you can't destroy them, they'll actually do a lot of damage. I would never advocate a bot like that. I will never build a bot like that, but they're pests. They're a pest, and the best thing to do for a pest like that is to just swat them and be done with it. Medics again save the day. It's all just medics up here. So now, again, coming down here and looking for who I can help the most. There's a guy down in the valley. He's not in the best of shape, but he just finished off the guy he was fighting with. And now we've got a situation emerging that will be kind of obnoxious in the sense that we've got all kinds of guys up on that ledge who aren't really doing anything, and now we've got enemies appearing down below who is kind of like, I can't keep on top of the repairs for the railgunner, so I advance to try and strip the weapons off this guy before the railgunner loses it altogether. And I was successful. Yay, all the guns are gone. And now I'm like, I don't want to heal that railgunner. I don't know why. So I'm just going to chase this asshole before he has an opportunity to find a medic of his own and come back twice as obnoxious. So we circle back around, and we've got a lot of guys now in that valley. We've got some enemies coming down the other valley, so I want to get the hell out of dodge because they're shooting at me. I'm the only one there for them to shoot. Look at all the medics. Look at all the damn medics. What are you going to do? Well, there's one fewer now, but again, we have no offense, so someone's got to push forward and do something about these enemy bots, and soon, or they're just going to sit there and pick us apart, because they do have some offensive bots that are going to be much more suited to damaging things than we are. So while this guy is away from his medic, we're going to do as much damage to him as possible, and then we're going to take care of this guy. And there's a plasma guy up on the ridge again. You may have seen the projectiles just coming down, but the medics are hungry. The medics are hungry. So they're going to eat this guy. And then that guy up on the ridge, it looks like we've got an SMG and a bomber of some sort, it looks like. So they took care of him. It's a damn shame that they couldn't help with the other 3 bots that were down on the ground. I don't understand. It's a win. You can't really complain too much about a win. Now this is the final match of the day. See, we've got an oil tanker there to help us out. A few little babby bots. Very, very light on mass. Not a whole lot holding them together. Again, this is a situation where you just kind of... is this going to be worth being here, or should I just self-destruct? Don't want to prejudge too much. You know, we can have a little bit of fun with it, you know, poking a little fun, but push comes to shove. You know, I was basically watching to see how things played out. There were 2 groups basically that split off. I'm with one of them, and the other group looked like they had a reasonable distribution of medics, so they're taken care of. So now I'm just kind of advancing and trying my best to stay out of the way. I've mentioned this in the past, and one of my biggest pet peeves about medics is they just get in the goddamn way, and they don't even think about it. So you can see I just kind of let those go by. This guy, his bot just did like a triple somersault onto his back because he bumped the other guy. It's kind of a problem. So there's nothing I can do for him. I have no intention of making a bot that flips other bots. Taking some shots in the ass. But we're just going to keep going because my 2 shooters are past that spot. It's, you know, I'm not an offensive bot where I'm going to turn around and try and deal with those guys. This guy starts firing at the flare up there, and then he just kind of stops. And then this guy pulls up and he actually starts doing some damage. So I'll move up to support, trying to keep as much distance as possible so that he's not crowded. If he needs to back up, he can. If he needs to do whatever, he can do it, and I'm not there either in his way or blocking his line of sight. So that's very important. Also, you'll notice this is kind of important too. You see how we're skirting the edges of the base? We don't want to announce our position to the enemy team saying, hey, there's people at your base, if we're not planning on staying there. So if you're not going to be staying at the base to capture it, you don't want to necessarily be sitting on it as you go by, letting the enemy know that they're about to be flanked. So now this is kind of a dicey situation. I've lost all but one of my nano disruptors because the enemy was much stronger there than we thought. So I'm moving up here, first of all hoping to find a medic of my own to help me recover some of these nano disruptors, but also just to get out of the line of fire. You know, if I lose the other nano disruptor, I'm basically just a free kill for the enemy, and I kill across this guy. He's in rough shape, I'm in rough shape. We're going to help each other. We're going to be the best pals forever. Oops. Did I do that? I repaired one of his legs, and it just kind of flipped him off. That happens. If you've never seen that, that's a bit of a physics glitch. When a medic repairs a walker leg, the leg just kind of springs back to life and flings them off into the distance. So now we're capping, and I've got one nano disruptor, and I'm just kind of thinking that guy left, and all of a sudden we didn't need him because we won. So that I flung my medic pal. We were going to be friends forever, and now he's gone. So the next episode will be match footage with Pretty Hate Machine because we haven't done that for a while. Leave your comments and feedback. Thanks for watching, guys, and take care.